What if the greatest test in life isn't earning your first $1 million, but what you do the moment after? For years you grind, you sacrifice sleep, you miss parties, you pour every ounce of your being into building something. Then, one day, it happens. The number in your bank account crosses that mythical 7-figure threshold. You did it. You've arrived. The world tells you this is the finish line. Pop culture paints a very specific picture of this moment. The roaring engine of a new sports car, the clinking of champagne glasses on a yacht, the triumphant throwing of keys to a house you once only dreamed of. This is the reward. This is victory. But there's another, quieter story. The one about the people who reach this peak only to find themselves, a few years later, right back where they started, or worse. We've all heard the cautionary tales, and we tend to think we know the mistake. They spent too much, they were flashy, they were irresponsible. But what if that's just the symptom, not the disease? What if the most dangerous mistake isn't loud and obvious, but silent, subtle, and disguised as wisdom? In this video, we are going to deconstruct the single most common and catastrophic amateur mistake made after earning $1 million. We will expose why it happens, what it truly represents, and how it's rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of what money actually is. The mistake isn't about what you buy, it's about what you become. Most people believe the cardinal sin of the newly rich is lifestyle inflation. You get money, you spend money. The cautionary tale is always the same. Someone gets a windfall and immediately buys a Ferrari, a mansion they can't afford the taxes on, and takes all their friends on a world tour. The money vanishes as quickly as it came, and yes, reckless spending is a surefire way to lose it all. We see this play out in headlines about lottery winners and pro athletes going broke. The math is simple. If your outflow exceeds your inflow, you will eventually hit zero. It's the low-hanging fruit of financial advice, the first thing any critic points to. Don't be that person. Don't buy the depreciating assets. Don't let your ego write checks your capital can't cash. It's a clean, simple narrative. But if the mistake was just overspending, why do so many people who don't buy a Lamborghini still end up losing their momentum, their drive, and often their wealth? What if the car isn't the problem at all, but merely a symptom of a much deeper, more insidious error in thinking? What if the real mistake is one you can make even while being financially prudent? To understand this, we need to introduce a new framework. Forget spender versus saver. The real battle is between two mindsets, the operator and the owner. The operator is the person you were when you were building. They are the grinder, the hustler, the doer. An operator trades their time, their skill, and their energy directly for money. They are the engine. They work in the business. The owner, however, thinks differently. An owner doesn't just work for money. They create systems where money works for them. They work on the business, not just in it. They aren't the engine. They are the architect of the entire vehicle. Now, let's re-examine that classic mistake through this new lens. When the new millionaire buys the Ferrari, the act itself isn't just a financial transaction. It's a psychological one. It is the ultimate operator reward. It's the cashing out of thousands of hours of labor for a shiny, tangible symbol of that labor. It's a monument to the grind. But an owner sees it differently. They see a depreciating asset. An owner understands that the first million isn't a trophy to be polished. It is the first real soldier in an army they are now tasked with building. So, the first aha moment is this. The foundational mistake isn't buying the luxury item. The mistake is remaining an operator when the game has changed. It's failing to make the mental leap from earning money to growing money. You're still thinking like an employee of your own life, not its CEO. If remaining an operator is the core problem, then the single most destructive action you can take becomes terrifyingly clear. It's not buying the car. It's not even a bad investment. The biggest mistake, the one that guarantees failure, is stopping. It's taking your foot off the gas. It's believing the finish line you just crossed was the final one. You spent years becoming a finely tuned machine of discipline, learning, and execution. You built habits of resilience and creativity. That machine is what produced the $1 million. The moment you decide you've made it is the moment you give that machine permission to rust. You stop learning with the same intensity. You stop networking with the same hunger. You stop innovating with the same desperation. The very skills that created your success begin to atrophy. You've retired, not from a job, but from the person you had to become to succeed. The financial decay is secondary. The decay of your skills and mindset comes first. The money is just a lagging indicator of your own personal decline. So if stopping the work, stopping the growth, is the ultimate poison, why is it the first thing everyone dreams of doing? To answer that, we have to examine the lie our culture tells us about work and wealth. We do this because we're exhausted. The hustle, the grind, the sacrifice, it takes a toll. We are conditioned to see wealth not as a tool, but as a destination. A place called enough, where we can finally rest. The entire narrative of making it is built on the promise of an end point. Think about it. The dream isn't just to have money. It's to achieve a state of permanent vacation, to never have to worry or strive again. This is the lottery winner's curse writ large. The curse isn't the money itself, but the fact that the money arrives disconnected from the process, the mindset, and the identity that's required to manage it. Windfall wealth is like giving a high-performance engine to someone who has never learned to drive. For the entrepreneur or high achiever, the $1 million wasn't a windfall, but it can feel like one. It feels like permission to finally stop driving, without realizing that for people like them, the driving is the entire point. The purpose was never the destination, it was the building of the vehicle itself. But I know what you're thinking. What about the smart ones? What about the person who makes their first million, avoids the flashy lifestyle, and immediately puts it all into a responsible portfolio? They invest in index funds, buy a rental property, and live well below their means.
Surely they've avoided the trap. They've made the right moves, and on the surface they have. But let's apply our operator versus owner framework one last time. Passively parking your capital in a set of assets you don't deeply understand or actively manage is still, fundamentally, an operator's move. It's the act of handing over your new, powerful tool to someone or something else to manage. It's an abdication of the owner's primary responsibility, to be the chief capital allocator of their own life. It treats the $1 million as a nest egg to be protected, a relic from a past victory.
The owner, by contrast, sees that capital as raw material. They might invest in the same assets, but they do so with an obsessive desire to understand them. They are actively seeking the next opportunity, building the next system, and treating that first million not as a conclusion, but as the seed capital for their first real empire. Even their safe investments are an offensive strategy, not a defensive crouch. So here is the final, brutal truth. Even the most prudent, responsible-looking action can be the same mistake in disguise. The mistake is not the action, spending or saving. The mistake is the mindset. It is the abdication of the throne. It is the belief that you can now turn your brain off. So let's assemble the full picture. The cultural myth of wealth as a finish line creates a deep-seated desire to stop. This desire manifests in two ways. For the undisciplined, it's a spending spree, cashing in the operator's hard work for tangible rewards. For the disciplined, it's a retreat into passive preservation, outsourcing the thinking and abdicating the owner's role. Both paths, though they look wildly different, stem from the exact same error, the belief that the game is over. The final breaking point, the moment the mistake is truly cemented, is when your mindset shifts from offense to defense. It's when your primary financial goal changes from "how much can I build" to "how can I not lose what I have." That subtle shift is the beginning of the end. It is the moment you trade the infinite potential of the owner for the false security of the operator, who has simply clocked out. Now that we understand the machine of this mistake in its entirety, one question remains: what does escaping it actually look like? What is the one mental model that separates the one-hit wonder from the dynasty builder? The answer low changes everything.